it's Holly Browning from the Lebanon Public Library. Thanks for joining me today for Family Research Tips and Tricks. Since we are into February, I thought we would do a small special episode today for Valentine's Day about documenting your family love stories. I know that we all have them, and I think it's really important to write those things down for future generations to see. And there's a couple of reasons why that is. The studies are showing that it provides such a strong background for children to know that they come from something bigger than themselves. And I think it's important to know that, the love that helped create them and helped make the generations, it's important for them to know these things. So I want to start with a quote that I found. It was from a Native American writer who was not named, but it says, "Be still, they say, watch and listen. You are the result of the love of thousands." And I thought that was really neat because it's true. And in a lot of ways, I know that not every relationship or circumstance would bring about, such a loving relationship, but most are. And we are the results of thousands of loves through the generations. And that was a really neat quote that I think went well with what we're talking about. And if you may think, why should I document these kind of things? And I found there was an article in the New York Times in 2013 by an editor by the name of Bruce Feiler. And he wrote an article, it was called "The Stories That Bind Us." And you can actually Google this, Bruce Feiler, "The Stories That Bind Us." And it was an excellent article about why that you want to tell these stories and have them written down for your family, and what happens when you have such a strong family narrative. He said, "The most resilient and self-confident children have a strong sense of intergenerational self." Like I said, they know that they belong to something bigger than themselves. And I think that's especially important in this day and time where things can feel very out of control. It's good to know that you come from you have roots somewhere. And to have these stories, it's precious, and you can be able to share them to the future generations. So that's just a few reasons to write down your stories, including your very own love story. It's never too early to write, how you met your spouse, things of that nature. And when I say love story, I don't just mean romantic love stories. It also write a story about what it felt like to look into your child's eyes the first time. I know kids love to hear stories of when they were born, or what mommy and daddy were doing, or how they rushed to the hospital, things like that. When your brother or sister became your best friend, or when you adopted your four-legged pet that that was your best friend. All of those things are really important narratives for that can be used to teach and that kind of thing. So if you're trying to remember your ancestors' love stories, remember to ask certain questions, and also ask multiple sources. It's really important to get multiple sources because, as you know, not everyone remembers things the same way. People will remember certain tidbits that someone else forgot, or they will see it in a different light maybe. So you'll definitely want to get multiple sources on a story. Maybe ask brother and sister what they remember about mom and dad. So questions to ask, you can ask when and where did your parents or grandparents meet? Was it instant love at first sight, or did it develop into something stronger over time? What were their favorite activities to do together? And sometimes if there's enough info, you can kind of read between the lines when looking for information through even census records, wedding records. You can come across things like this where 50th anniversary parties, 60th anniversary parties, and you can kind of fill in the blanks as you go. And for that, you'll really need to kind of read between the lines there to kind of develop the story a little better. And this right here, I brought this picture. This is one of my own family love stories. These are my great grandparents. This is Chester and Christine Thompson from Norwood, Ohio, and they met in Kentucky, in Casey County, Kentucky, and they lived a ridge apart. And my papa, we called him, used to ride his horse across the ridge to court my mama. And they married, I think, around 1940. And during the Great Migration, so to speak, they came up to Norwood for work and then for, World War II. So just one of the many great love stories that I love sharing with my son, and just one of the things that you can share this Valentine's Day for your family. So I hope to see you again in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching.